Welcome to the video. In this video I'd like to take a look at the latest crop of video transmitters from HobbyKing. These are 3 of those and they all have the ability to do race band. So they're 40 channel transmitters. So we'll take a look at each of these in turn, and I'd say a very big thank you to HobbyKing for sending us this to have a look at. I've actually been using one of these in the back of one of our latest models. Now this is the back of the Vtx frame that we've been using with our KISS flight controller. I'll put a link to the series for that so you can watch all of those if you're interested. And at the back here I have one of these elite transmitters with kind of the droopy tail out the back, and this is working really well. I've been very impressed with it. Range has been very good. The construction of it is fantastic. The way I've been able to kind of 3D print a little mount for it and stick it at the back of this Vtx frame, it just is great. The challenge with some of the more traditional FPV transmitters that I've been using in the past is sometimes they are a little bit big physically, and for some of these smaller frames I'm struggling to get them in place. That's where these 3 units come in. They are much smaller than the kind of traditional ones that I've been using up till now, but they seem to offer decent quality and all of the 40 channels that we need for race band. So let's have a quick look at these individually, one after the other. Now the first ones we'll have a look at are these guys here. This is the Quantum Elite wireless AV transmitter, 40 channel. These are available in several different powers. There's 25, I think the other ones are 200, I think you do a 600 milliwatt version as well. So if you want to stay nice and legal, you have that option. There are 2 versions of this as well. Now if we put that model back on the table, you'll see that you can either get it where the antenna comes straight out the back, which for applications like this is brilliant, or you can get one like this where the antenna actually comes out of the end. It's in a little metal box, which you think is going to make it really heavy, but it's not. But it does mean that it's a little bit bulletproof. Let me give you an idea of how heavy this thing is. So it's only about 14 grams, and then in the case as well you also get a little whip aerial, which as usual, you know, I would throw that away, get yourself a decent circular polarized antenna. And at the very bottom then we have the cables. Now the cables themselves have 2 connectors in, one for whatever your camera is, and that has a +5 volts, a ground, and also a signal cable too, and then the other one is a JST lead for power. The cable on the actual receiver itself is this style. Now this, I first saw this on the Pix Racer flight controller, so it's a new one that's starting to garner a lot of interest. But it clips in, it's very secure, and then we have a little button here for changing the channel, and hopefully you can see there at the top we have bands F, E, A and B, and then in the middle of A and B we have R for race, and there are the 8. And the way it works is dead simple. You just press this little button once to change the channel, press and hold it to change the band. Other nice little thing here is it does have a microphone in it too, so it will record sound. So mine is nice. You can actually listen to the noises of the motors and everything. Particularly useful if you're going to use it on something like a fixed wing, because you can hear the sound rushing over the plane. So that's the first one I want to show you. So there are 2 options again. There's one with it on the top, one with it on the front. So you have those. There's also then 3 variants of each of those styles, 25 milliwatt, a 200 and a 600. Like I say, I've been flying with this on the back of that Vtx frame and been really impressed at the quality. So that's the first one. The next one we'll have a look at then is kind of like one of those without all the pretty dress on. So if I just keep that one out, this one is a Q58-2. Again, it's available in different powers. It says on the HobbyKing website that you can actually change the power of this. However, I've not found that. I think what you order is the power that you're stuck with. Comes in a slightly different box. Again, another whip aerial. Same comment about that. And then you have exactly the same connector at the bottom, which fits in, and then you have the same layout. Now this looks to be basically the same board but without the case. So if you want a really light option and you don't want the case for robustness, then this is something you can have a look at as well. So let's just put this on. That's zeroed. So that's about just over 8 grams. So the case isn't particularly heavy, but if you want a really small variant of it without all the extra weight, then that's another one to look at too. This will perform the same as the ones in the case. It looks like exactly identical. You can even see that there is the microphone, the buttons in the same place, even the LEDs are kind of there, that's hidden behind here. I haven't cracked the back off the case because it's pretty obvious that this is exactly the same board, it's just not enclosed in this little metal cover. Last one we'll look at then is this Q58-2. This is the mini transmitter. Again, it's available in various powers and sizes. Speaking to HobbyKing, I'm very pleased that they've actually started to stock these in all of the various powers in the regional warehouses, which means for those of us that aren't in the Far East, we can get hold of them a little bit quicker. Now this comes with a mushroom aerial. I haven't tried this really. I tend to always rely on more expensive aerials when I'm flying. And then we have a really diddy little FPV transmitter that has a similar kind of setup. Again, this one is a 40 channel, so all of these are race band, but this would allow you to mount it in the frame well out the way, and it's got a little flying lead here that then you could poke through. If you really wanted, you could solder an SMA connector directly on here. Looks like it was actually designed to do that, but the fact it has a flying lead, there's a couple of models I've done recently where this would have been fantastic. And the cable is very similar to the one we've looked at. Same kind of connector again as the one that we've had with the camera and the power connection, but also this time they've also included a little USB adapter for the camera too. So those are 3 options that we've got now from HobbyKing. Just wanted to go through these because as I've been using this and been so impressed, it's kind of cool now that we have so much option in terms of the size, weight and everything else. Oh, let me just give the weight of this last piece because I know people will ask if I don't. Unfortunately, it's got the connector on as well. So that is about 11 grams, but a lot of that weight is actually coming from this brass SMA connector that you'd mount out on the tip. So hopefully those are a couple of options for those of you that have race band receivers and are looking for FPV transmitters to go in your kit. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. There are lots of other videos on the channel and they're carefully ordered into playlists, so you may find that there are other videos on this same subject that you can go and watch. So I would recommend going into the playlist area of Painless 360 YouTube channel and looking around and seeing what there is. You never know what you might find. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and happy flying.